Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, I've got an interesting story I'm going to share with you, not right now, but in a little bit. It's something that I share in common with Keanu Reeves. Okay, so I want to share some learnings first that really simplified life for me. So a long time ago in high school, we were section champions. We had a phenomenal football team. We were ranked in the nation, and then I forget what we were ranked in California, something like number 2 at one point or something like that. We were a really highly ranked team. We were undefeated, just destroyed teams. So we had a coach, Coach McGrath. The guy was a defensive genius, and he came in, and I believe it was my senior. I don't remember if he came in my junior, but he was definitely there the whole senior. Yeah, he was there my junior year. That's right, he was there. So I heard this from a couple places, but a couple people, I should say. But when he taught it to me, I understood it for the first time. So a few years later, I was in junior college. I went to Chico State, then Arizona State, then I moved back home, and I was in junior college. So I don't know, I was 19 or 20, something, maybe 21. I don't remember how old I was. And so what happened here? So he happened to be the weight room teacher. Okay, so that's what he was doing at that junior college. That was his job at the time. I'm sure he had other classes, but that was one of them. And I was in his class, and it was raining one day. It was kind of a cold, wet day, kind of miserable. Didn't feel like lifting. And he called me outside, underneath the roof, of course, right outside the door. And he said, "Hey, let's talk, Mike." I was like, yeah, sure, man. And so we started talking. And he goes, "Remember that play, in your senior year when you guys, beat whatever team?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Remember when so-and-so did this?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, he went into this dialogue about how, he goes, "I knew that when this guard did that this guard pulled like that, and then this guy crashed down. And then I realized that the tight end had to do it, do this in order for that play to happen." And I'm kind of looking at this guy like, "Wait, what are you talking about? Like, you mean afterwards when you looked at the film?" He goes, No, when we were playing them." I'm thinking like, wait, what? Now, if you've never played football, this may be, let's put it this way. There's 11 guys on each team, and when they hike that ball, you are going 100 miles an hour, full blast, full speed. You got people pulling, going left, going right. You got running backs smashing through the line. I mean, it is a chaotic, fast, quick, powerful experience. And he's telling me he's seeing how all the guards, the linemen, the tackles, the center, and he realized the center pulled, and that meant the tight end had to do this. And I'm like, wait, how in the hell could you see all that in a split second? Like, literally, I mean, each play is like really fast. Like, we're talking 2 or 3 seconds on average each. So he said, "Well, Mike," he goes, "you got to understand." He goes, "They had to do that." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean they had to do it?" Now, I made a video of this many, many, many years ago, probably over 10 years ago, and I don't remember the exact wording, but he goes, "Based on the rules of football, on the offensive line, and then how, the wide receiver has to be off the line, etc., he goes, if this guy does this, then that limits it down to 3 moves that the offense can do from that point." I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Well, yeah." So I said, wait, let me kind of go back, like, just before that last piece. I go, "So you're telling me you saw all of that happen at this exact same time?" He goes, No. He goes, "No, I didn't see all of it happen. But what I did see was I saw this guy do this and I saw this guy do that," which meant the guy next to him, by rule, he only had really 1 or 2 choices. He either did this or he did that. And because this guy did that, I knew that he had to do this. Otherwise, he would have broke the rules and got a flag. Now, you got to understand, I played football at that point for 4 years. and technically 5. I played 1 year in college. And I'm looking at him like, how could you possibly know that? He goes, well, Michael, he goes, based on the rules, there's only so many patterns that can be ran. So once this guy does this and that guy does that, that cuts it all the way down to, say, 3 different moves. I was like, okay. So he slightly changed the subject. He goes, wait a minute. He goes, haven't you noticed that, how did he say this? He goes, haven't you noticed that there are core basic patterns to everything you do in life? I'm like, what do you mean? So he started talking about math, and then he started talking about science, okay? And then football, and then a couple other things. He goes, everything you learn in life, once you kind of get through the complexities of it, once you get to the, kind of like you get out of the water, you get to the top, you start realizing everything is actually really, really simple. There's only a couple basic patterns. All right, I've got a great one. So, all right, I'm going to share that after this. So, neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, and even Ericksonian hypnosis, what they're doing is they're teaching you people's unconscious patterns. Now, in the beginning, just the practitioner, the very first training, the practitioner manual was so thick. It was bigger than any college manual that I'd ever been handed. I mean, I was like, what? I mean, it was intimidating, to be quite honest with you. Luckily, they sent you a manual before you went out to the training, and they told you you're supposed to listen to the audio tapes 3 times from beginning to end. Now, there's something like, I think in a practitioner there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I think it's 32 32 audio tapes, and they're about 1.5 hours to 2 hours each. And I'm like, 3 times? I'm like, that's going to take months. Well, it did. It took me about 3 months to get through them 3 times. And thank God I did, because otherwise, when I went to the training, I would have been completely lost if I didn't do that. So they're teaching us all these patterns, and one of the patterns that they taught us, it's an overriding pattern that I've already taught you guys. So this was during the Master Practitioner course. Now that manual is bigger than the Practitioner manual. Okay. And I did these courses back to back, so my brain I was just overwhelmed. So we were about a week into that training, and then Dr. Tad James just said, hey, let's stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop. He said, I'm going to tell you something, and you're probably not going to like it, because you guys have spent a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of energy, and a lot of effort learning all these techniques. I'm like, yep. He goes, look, I know this is going to shock you, maybe even upset you. Now here's what he said. I don't think he used the phrase or the word overriding pattern. I think that's something I just made up in my head, but he said this. He goes, look, none of these patterns actually heal people or fix people. And we were like, what? He then went on to say, it's your intention. Your intention literally is what heals them. The patterns are just used to get you into that zone of intention. So I realized after a little while of working with clients that it really does come down to intention. Everything does. Every conversation comes down to intention. So I've made a video that's going to be coming out. So I'm going to put this out early. I've got videos lined up all the way 3 weeks ahead of time right now, all the way into April 2nd. So I started to realize everything I did really came down to intention. Now I had a client where she came in and she had this issue. We got fixed it, but then she came back and she had another issue, and I didn't know what to do. So I kind of said, just take a deep breath, and I took a deep breath too. And I said, do me a favor, close your eyes. Now this is all coming to me while I'm working with her, and I do this wild spiritual thing that I'd never heard of. I think I'd only been certified in one level of Huna at that point. And I did something that I just kind of came to me. I floated up above my head, above the ceiling, and then over to her spirit, and we had a conversation. And I did this technique up there, and then I came back down, and then she dropped back down. Or I imagine her spirit dropped back down. And she opened her eyes right when I just... it's gone. And I was like, what? She goes, that feeling in my gut, it's gone. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? So I began to realize everything really came down to intention. So the number one overriding pattern really is intention. So I studied Huna, Reiki, and Pranic healing. And I remember it was in Pranic healing because that was the third one I studied. And I studied that one more in depth than the other ones. And I was like, they were teaching us this technique for the specific thing. I'm like, wait a minute, but in Reiki they do this other thing. It's completely, like, not even remotely close to this. But then they taught us another one. Like, wait a minute, in Reiki they teach us something else for that. In Huna they do this. Like radically different ideas, techniques, etc. Just completely different. So that memory from Dr. Tahad James saying, hey, it's really all about your intention, that started to coming up. Now, one thing about me, for some reason, I really took to pranic healing. I just really liked it. And those are the techniques that I use most of the time. So one more thing about this intention thing. So then I started really focusing on the dating relationship, especially the internal communication patterns between men and women, and how we are romanced, how we fall in love, and also how we are seduced. There's the male form of seduction, then there's the female form of seduction. And I started looking at this and said, wait a minute, everything in my manual comes down to one picture. It's an arrow going up and an arrow going down. Everything that I will teach you in this course has to do with that pattern. Every single thing. Now, it took me about 3, 4, 5 years to realize that. It actually took more because those same patterns are within the NLP technique patterns. Those same patterns, it's the yin and the yang symbol. I mean, I started to see it everywhere. So at this point in time, I'm looking at working with people going, wait, this is all I'm doing. Like, this is okay. So when I first started working with guys on Cracked Female Code, like, this is a 5-day, almost 8 hours every single day training, plus training after, and then some pre-training. They have to read my book and my manual, etc., before they even get to the course. And it is an overwhelming thing. And then what happened was, I was like, wait a minute, all I'm doing is getting them to see this pattern. And I'm just showing it to them in all these different ways until the brain finally clicks and goes, that's all it is. I'm like, yes, and that's what I told you from the very first moment you walked in the door. So everything you do is this external and internal pattern. You breathe out, which is external. You breathe in, which is internal. Okay? Your heart beats. It pulls blood in. It squeezes blood out. You breathe in your lungs. You breathe out. You breathe in, and the oxygen goes through the lung tissue into the bloodstream, gets pumped through the heart. So it's an internal and external system. Your kitchen sink. The water comes out, and then it goes down the spout or down the sink, and then it goes down the pipe. So water comes in, water goes out. Water comes in, water goes out. Even when you get to water evaporating up into the air from the ocean, going up in the clouds, falling back down, going back to the ocean, okay? It is a constant circular cycle. And this is what we call flow. Health is when you have flow. Illness is when you block flow. Do you want to know what cancer is? It's a blockage of energy flow. Really, it's your blood vessels aren't opening up correctly. The blood's not flowing through. It's not flowing through your muscles. It's not flowing through your system. That's all it is. It's just a blockage. All I have to do is undo and clear that blockage. It's kind of like a pipe. If it's got some clogs in there, it's harder for the water to go through. All I'm doing is I'm clearing out all the clogs for the water or the blood or your energy to flow through. So what is the ultimate blockage of life? Thinking. space. So here's the deal. Everything in the Bible comes down to this one thing. So when I opened up to my right brain when I was in my late 20s, mid 20s, I started to read the Bible from there, and man, did everything suddenly make sense. Like, holy shit. Now remember, the left brain is the minus brain. The right brain is the addition brain. The left brain, you divide it. It's the divide and negation. It negates everything and minuses everything, okay? So it keeps things separate. That's what left brain people do. That would be a narcissist. So when you look at things, even listening in a conversation or watching a movie or anything, and especially reading the Bible, you're connecting the pieces. You're saying, okay, verse 1 plus verse 2 plus verse 3. So you're literally adding these things together to see what they equal together. And that is right brain thinking. It's much more enjoyable to be around that. Now, if you're thinking, I would like to be able to do that, well, guess what? That's what I specialize in. Essentially, that's the discovery and the course that I created to get your brain to start adding things together. Have you ever heard that narcissists generally tend to screw themselves over? And as they get older, their lives kind of fall apart. And here's why. It's because they're constantly negating themselves. One basic example is some really, really good person comes into their life that changes their life. Everything starts to go really good. And what do? They destroy that person. They destroy that connection. And now the person's gone, and all of a sudden their life goes to hell again. This is a constant pattern that they do because everything to them is left brain negation. So when I went through my awakening, I was a very, very right brain being, and everything in life changed. And I mean everything. So here I'm reading the Bible, and for the first time in my life, it's like, like everything made sense. I realized now I was reading the Bible from beginning to end, every day I would constantly read it from beginning to the end. Start it over again, beginning to end. Every day I would just read in the morning for about 30 plus minutes from, just keep moving forward. So what ended up happening was my brain, because I had read the Bible so much from beginning to end, plus all the Bible studies and all that stuff, my brain now was, how do I say it? It's like, I don't like to use this word, but it's a good way to say it. It's like chronologically was adding, and here's the real word, adding the pieces together like a puzzle. So you take one piece, connect it to another, connect it to another, connect it to another, and you start having these huge aha moments. See, when you read the Bible, adding the pieces together instead of dividing them and separating them and pushing them apart, guess what? All of a sudden you see the bigger picture and you're like, oh. I mean, doesn't it make sense that if you divide and minus everything from each other, it's like you're not going to see how the puzzle looks. So because I spent decades studying NLP, psychology, hypnosis, these are all essentially the same field with different perspectives, different sides, different angles. And then I got into energy healing, and what was the other thing I was going to say? So then I put my course together, and I spent decades putting that together and understanding, like, what is this? Why are we not getting along? What are we missing? And all of a sudden, it was like pop. All of a sudden, these basic patterns popped up. I'm like, oh, that's it? I'm like, yep, that's it. Like my course, it takes you lots of hours to get through it, guys. But it essentially it comes down to about 3 core patterns. And once you do those 3 core patterns together, understanding women is flawless. And that's the whole goal of the course, is to get you to see the core patterns, because that will simplify everything. So what does this have to do with the Matrix? Everything. It's the same thing that Jesus was teaching. Same thing that Buddha was teaching. It's the same thing that even things that have nothing to do with God or religion are teaching you. It's the same thing. And by the way, the yin and yang symbol is not spinning in one direction. It's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, just like breathing in and out, in and out. And by the way, sex is the same thing, in and out, in and out. I started seeing these patterns everywhere, like, oh, this simplified everything. See, if you're only breathing out, you're going to suffocate. And that's what most people think the yin and yang symbol is, like it's spinning in one direction the whole time. No, it's going left, right, left, right, left, right. It's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I can take this one concept, I'm serious, and I can teach a guy how to just breathe while he's talking to a woman and have her, I'm going to say it in a nice way, be very attracted to him. Now there's another pattern. And so men, if you got two men talking, they go back and forth, like they say one word or phrase, maybe a sentence if you're lucky, and then the other guy interrupts and talks, and this guy interrupts and talks, so they go back and forth, it's like it's too fast. So I teach men, I go, communication is just like breathing. You have to let them breathe. Let them communicate for paragraph after paragraph, and then when they stop, now it's your turn. They breathe in, now you do the external. So it's breathing in, breathing out. So instead of going back and forth, that just makes everyone uptight because nobody really takes a deep breath. So what is this video about? There is one very basic, very simple pattern. And that's what this video is about. Sorry, I didn't mean to be too loud there. So here's what I'm realizing, because I've been living this for 3 months now. It's like I have arrived. So the left brain people are thinking. Here's why. They're stuck inside the tip of that V. And they can't get out. Now here's the deal. A lot of people that are in the tip of that V, see, they're going towards the tip instead of the other way. And because of that, it's like they're constantly experiencing frustration. Why? Because all of their energy is getting jammed into this finite little point, and it's frustrating. This is anger, and this is frustration. And this is fear, and this is shame. This is guilt. This is all the negative fear-based emotions. This is called fear-based thinking. Remember when, I just forgot his name, one of the apostles said, no, Jesus, I will never let them do this to you, because Jesus had announced, like, hey man, I think it was the Last Supper, saying, hey, they're going to kill me, and they're going to beat me, and this is going to be a really bad thing. And then, not Joseph, I cannot remember the name of him right now, but he said, no, Jesus, I will never let them do this to you, and he's the one who ended up turning against Jesus, who went behind and got paid by the centurions to set Jesus up. So anyways, Jesus looked at him, and when he says, no, I'll never let you do this, because he was actually in his ego. Now, where do you think the ego is on this chart? Yep, it's at the tip. Where do you think greed is in this chart? Yep, it's at that tip. When you're that logical thinking, you got your forehead's tight, your pupils are small and narrow, kind of coming together, like aiming at a target, like a pinpoint, like both laser beams from both eyes are like at the tip, like that thing. I'm going to tell you something else. Wealth is at the other end. Also, being wealthy and prosperous at the other end is not greedy, and this is what Christians don't understand. Greed is when you're being selfish. Greed is when you're in that thinking, and you're that little finite point. This is called your ego. When you're going after money because of your ego, it is bad, it is wrong, and will cause a lot of problems for you and the people that are involved. Abundance thinking is at the other end, okay? This is when you're prosperous and abundant on a massive level. But you'll get these Christians saying, oh, well, they're evil. Well, why? They're very loving, they're kind, they help people. Like, well, why are they evil? Well, I mean, look how wealthy they are. That God never said that. God clearly says in the Bible multiple times to live abundantly, to be prosperous, to be wealthy, successful, etc., etc. Multiple times. And now you're coming and saying the Antichrist thing, that money is bad, that being wealthy is bad. Like, do you realize you're literally speaking against God? So here's the deal. When you read the Bible from your right brain, the open, bigger picture, see, when you put the pieces, okay, if you go down to the very bottom at the tip, that's one piece of the puzzle. When you start connecting 2 or 3, you go just a little bit up, and then 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. When you go to the top, you put all the pieces together. Now you can literally see the bigger picture of what the puzzle was supposed to be about in the first place. See, when you're down on the tip, this is the either or mentality. It's either you and me, it's kill or be killed. So if I got to make money, then it causes you to automatically think, I must destroy this person, I must hurt them or damage them in some way. And this is how a narcissist thinks. So making money in this way is really messed up. Now here's the deal. It just causes you, because you think either or. Well, either you're happy or I'm happy. If you're happy, that means I have to make you unhappy, and then I can be happy. That's what either or thinking does. Same thing with money. Well, if you got the money, I got to take it from you. I got to steal it. I got to sue you. I got to lie in the court about you. I got to hurt you in some way. The other way comes from love, because when you are in your state of love, it opens you up to the bigger picture. Literally, it opens up your brain to the right brain, which is the bigger picture brain. So the right brain is, how can we help each other? How can we both? Because the right brain is about both, plus and more. It's about and both. The left brain is about either or, either you or I. We can't both be. And it literally will say, we can't or you can't do that. And you're like, why? And then, you just can't. No, they don't really have an answer to that because they're at the tip and they can't see why. So these are the people that work together. These are the people that live happy, harmonious lives together, and they prosper each other and help each other, etc., etc. Now, people at the tip, and I guarantee you right now, if someone's that's in the tip, when they listen to me say, like, oh, people work together and they both get wealthy, their brain goes, oh, this guy's so full of shit. That's just like, he's just lying. He's just, blah, blah, blah. Because in their mind, there's no possible way that could be possible, because from the tip, you can't see it. All right, now watch this. So when Peter, it was Peter. So when Peter said, oh, I'll never let them do this to you, or whatever he said, Jesus says, now this is Matthew 16:23. Jesus says, get behind thee, Satan, or in other ways, get, in the modern ways, get behind me, Satan, right? And then Jesus says, you are a snare to me because you are not thinking the things of God, which is the bigger picture, the right brain, but the things of men. So just so you know, the left brain is the male brain, the right brain is the female brain. On this picture, the vague and abstract bigger picture, so at the top, if you were to turn this sideways to the right, that literally is the right brain, and if you go down to the tip, that's the male brain, and that's what Jesus meant when he said, so let me read it here. So when he said, you are a snare to me because you are not, N-O-T, not thinking the things of God, but the things of men, which is the tip, which is the logical left brain. So the logical left brain, again, is the very bottom, the tip. The right brain is the bigger picture up at the top. That is the right brain. And again, the left brain is the logical brain. The right brain is the emotional, creative, spiritual brain. It's the open brain to God. So now, when you listen to Jesus say this, I'll do it one more time. He says to Peter, get behind me, Satan. You are a snare to me because you are not thinking things of God, right brain, but the things of men, left brain, logical. Do you guys see it now? So the reason why Jesus says get behind thee, Satan, is because the tip is when men are looking out in front, so it's like their eyes each have a line or laser beam coming out and they meet at a point, say 6 inches or 8 inches out in front. And Jesus is literally saying get behind thee, Satan. So what he means is you need to spin this the other way around, so now the openness is out front and the tip is back, say in the back of his brain. Mike, how do you know this? I was one of Jesus's disciples. Okay, I'm just joking. So, how do I know? Because I've been teaching this to people for over 30 years now. And while teaching and doing, I'm, still reading my Bible 30 minutes a day or whatever, and I came across that person and went, wait a minute, I've been teaching this internal awareness stuff to men for, how many years? And it's like, it really hit me. It's like, oh, that's right. Jesus said, look within. That's, all like literally the internal awareness techniques. I will literally say to a guy, look within, look inside your body. That's what Jesus meant when he said, look within, because it opens you up to the bigger picture. The reason why I've been walking around in so much peace is because I've completely let go of that thinking, and all of a sudden there's nothing but clarity. Like when I listen to people now, like I absolutely understand them. When I'm having to put some things together, like for work, it's easy, it flows. It's because I let go and I'm open. People in the left brain feel trapped. They get angry, they get mad, and their mindset is it's either or, it's either you or me. So everyone is screwing each other over. They're paranoid. By the way, phobias, paranoia is all at the tip. Mental health, guess what? It's at the other end. This is what the serpent did to us in the garden. Remember, God said, do not eat of the tree of knowledge, which is the logical left brain. That's the tip where you get stuck. You can't move forward in life. Nothing seems to work. Nothing falls into place. Because that's the brain that divides and separates things. Of course nothing falls into place. Here's how simple this is. Are you ready? Left brain, think. Right brain, nothingness. And this is where you get absolute clarity. This is where you get along with people. This is where people want to be around you. When you're thinking, it is blocking you from receiving. So just last night I went for a bike ride. It's been kind of warm here, so it was about 9:30 at night. Guy walks into his friend's house, like just the way it was in his forehead, that tip that I keep talking about, and it makes your voice more irritating. And he walked in there, even though they didn't have an argument, but they eventually started to argue because this is what we call conflict communication. Or confrontational combat communication. Everything is a conflict. Everything is a controversy. Everything is a battle. So here's what everything in the Bible is about. I'm telling you, everything is about this. Ready? Listen. I mean, even the images, it's just peace. Quick side note, I've actually been on that street in that exact spot. So a lot of guys are like, but you're not doing anything. So when I'm teaching them how to meet women and approach women or whatever, they're like, but you didn't do anything. Yes, I did. I did this. The art of letting go is the art of nothingness. I'm completely silent inside. No thoughts in my head. No thoughts or feelings in my heart. Just emptiness and feeling my existence. You would be surprised at how many women or how many people in general are looking for this and they don't even know it. Get behind thee, Satan. Turn that V around and find this. Yes, I can actually teach you how to find this space. It's one thing to talk about it or to say do this. It's another thing to learn how.
Do you see how that causes the anxiety and the fear?
Yes.
Because you're trying to control it.
Mm-hmm. One of the things when you taught me those are the techniques like being internal and grounded and all that stuff. Do you remember how hard I was trying at those techniques?
And I said, don't try.
Yeah. One of the reasons I kind of started to get a handle on them was because I stopped trying. I was literally just like, fuck it, whatever. Because whenever I tried them, it was hard. Like it was really hard to do the techniques, and they would just cause more anxiety.
Because you can't do the techniques by doing them, by controlling them. It's literally like putting the brakes on a car.
Yeah.
And you're not doing it. It's like, why isn't it working, Mike? Now, when you learn to let go, would you say that everything in life has gotten easier?
Yes. And by everything, he means everything. Like there's nothing that there's pretty much nothing in my life that isn't touched by what I've learned from him.
Do you remember when I said I grabbed a bottle but used the cork, and I said this is my entire course right here, and especially the techniques we're doing to let go. I go, here it is. Ready? Let go. I go, the reason why you're not opening up is because you're trying, which means you're pushing the door closed and you're holding it.
Yeah.
So the entire Bible is about one thing, and I mean this literally, like it really is saying, hey, this is all we're saying. Love. But that's really not what it is. It's what love does. It opens you up and silences your mind. So now you are open to receive. You're open to receive information, knowledge. When you're talking to someone, when you're just quiet and silent and wide open, you receive all of their communication. One of the reasons why narcissists don't like people on this level is because they can't lie to us. Because we literally, you receive all the information. You can see right through it. It is so obvious. All I'm saying is this: open up, let go. So the left brain religious people are running around thinking every conversation, everything is let me think about this, either or, right, or are they saying? See, a lot of times Christians, if you use a word that's outside of their box, even though it means this, like, you know how hola means hello? It's like people in groups. It's not just religious people, but people in all kinds of groups, like, oh, they didn't use the word that we used. Like, yeah, but this word literally means the same thing. They get all offended and, oh, you must be a sinner. And so here's one of my point is, I'm not even trying to knock religion right now. I'm trying to say this. People that think, they are blocking their ability to understand and to see the bigger picture and go, oh, okay, I see. Like when you learn Huna, they use words like, like it's about the mana, like the Hawaiians, the mana, they say it like that, and the spirit and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And some people in the room, like I was definitely a very strong Christian back then, and some people in the room were also, and they like, mana, what are these weird words? And so I went and got my Bible, brought it to class one day, and I said, yeah, it's the word that God uses in the Old Testament. Remember, man does not live on bread and water alone. He lives on the mana from above. So just because someone speaks a different language doesn't mean they're going to go to hell. I mean, do you really think that all people that speak Spanish are going to go to hell because they say hola instead of hello? It's just a different word. Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys a question. Okay, so first of all, Coach McGrath was absolutely right. There are patterns in everything, and when you get to the bigger picture patterns, you start seeing the simplicity of everything. Like the internet, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. The whole thing is zeros and ones, and that's all it is. Alright, so I have a question for you. I'm going to, what's the word? Not premonition. Prophesy. I don't think that's quite the word. But I'm going to say this. I know that a lot of you on this channel actually know somebody. And I mean this. I already know this. Most of you on this channel already know someone. You know their first and last name. You've known them. You've heard them talk many, many, many times. I'm telling you right now, there's someone that you know very, very well that has something deeply in common with Keanu Reeves. And the hint is in this picture. So a couple years ago, I had seen the preview for this movie. This is The Matrix. I think it's called Resurrection. When I saw this in that preview, I was like, no way. I actually know someone who's actually been in that same bathtub. Not the same type of bathtub. I mean that bathtub right there, right in that bathroom, in that home, next to that window, with that sink thing that pours into the faucet thing. And you know this person. That would be me. So when I saw this come out I think it was about 6 months later, I was like, oh, you've got to be freaking kidding me. I just thought that was one hell of a coincidence. So yep, me and Keanu Reeves shared the same bathtub. Not at the same time, but still. Empty your mind. Be formless. Be shapeless. Be water, my friend. Don't think. Feel. Whoa, Mike. Are you trying to tell me that Bruce Lee was teaching the same thing that the book of Genesis and the entire Bible was trying to teach us? Yes, I am. Get behind thee, Satan. Wait a minute. Are you literally telling me that Bruce Lee was teaching the same thing that Jesus was teaching too? Why, yes, I am. In fact, everything that I just explained to you in this video comes down to 2 words. I am. When you don't think, you become the I am. You, which is the I, opens up to the am, which is atonement, which is oneness. Now you are at one. One thought, one mind, one spirit. And what did Popeye the Sailor Man say? I am what I am. Popeye the Sailor Man. And what did God say to Moses in Exodus 3:14? I am that I am. It should be pronounced this way. I am that I am. And what did Jesus say in John 8:58? Truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham was, I am. All is nothingness, and nothingness is all. So when Jesus says, truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham I was, they said he speaks as if he knows Abraham. Well, let me tell you something about time real quick. Time is just a construct. Time is actually not real at all. On this plane of existence, it gives structure to have this reality. On the higher dimensions, what we call time is just a location. So right now Jesus can walk over to Abraham. See, Abraham died way before Jesus came along, okay? So that's why they said he speaks as if he knew Abraham, okay? Or as if he spoke to Abraham. Well, he did. And Jesus was the one who went to what was that mountain that Moses climbed up to get the Sorry, I was going to say the 10 Commandments. Sorry, I was going to say the 12 Commandments. That was before Moses broke them and had to go back up and make them again. No, I'm just kidding. So Jesus essentially walked over to the location and met with Moses and gave him the 10 Commandments. So because of what Jesus said to the, what do you call them, Sadducees, Pharisees, whatever. So here's what it says. Did Jesus give Moses the law? Jesus Christ, in speaking to the Nephite multitude, proclaimed he was the giver of the law of Moses, and that the law was fulfilled in him. Behold, I say unto you that the law is fulfilled that was given unto Moses. And he also said when he was challenged by one of the, I think they were called Pharisees, or what were they called? Rabbis. So one of the rabbis was really pissed off and challenging him. And he literally says to him, he says, I am the law. Sorry, he says, I am the law of Moses. And that the whole room just went quiet. And they were essentially telling him, take it back. And he's like, no, I'm not going to take it back. They're like, you know what we have to do? Is do what you have to do. So I'm going to wrap this up. I am literally saying one thing in different ways. I am. That's it. See, I am means you open up from your left brain to your right brain. Now you're connected. You're at one. So it's that oneness that gives you peace, gives you harmony, gives you love, opens you up to, it's like your whole, literally like Jesus said, get behind you, Satan. Your whole mentality shifts. So, in one word, it's nothingness. Another one would be spaciousness. Just clarity. God bless you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. If you like this video, click subscribe, click the like button, make a comment, and if you want, there's a donation link, there's a PayPal link right there in the description box beneath this video. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.